horizontal lines, horizontal lines here, or vertical lines on the Y, you could do that, or you could just go to the X, which is the pattern that we had been playing around with. And of course, because this is a different shape, we would have to configure this a little bit differently. So if we're on the Y, that means that we should be able to adjust the Z. Is it lower I gotta go? Yeah, we can adjust the Z and X. So whatever axis you're projecting on, then the other two axes you can adjust. So let's say we're just going to leave it like that, and the lines look pretty well matched up on the, what do we say, we're on the X, so the Z and the Y we can adjust. But I don't think we need to adjust those. It looks pretty lined up. Well, see, I notice you have to play around with these because it might not always work out quite the way that you want. So it might be try to scale it as best you can, but I do want those lined up as good as I can get them, and then I might have to go into position here on the Y and shift it around a little bit. But you just play around. But now look what we've got here, and I would ask you, in what program could you create something like this? This is relatively fast. I can make it even better than it is, but that looks like an office building, and it will look like an office building. Now, the last thing we have left to do is the top of the building. And I've gone over this. We can do this a number of ways, but if you think about roofs on buildings, they're jacked up. They're exposed. They're getting direct sunlight. There's rain and bird crap and everything else up there. So honestly, the top of your building should actually, I think, be kind of messed up. So for that, if we go into the top, I'm going to switch that back to principled BD. I can never say that, BSDF. And I made it white. Of course you could do that, but I would suggest that we put something grungy up there. So let's try this hetero terrain, because that's pretty jacked up texture there, and let's hook it up, and we can put the bump in there too. Now let's double click this and do that, and let's see where we get. Now I see that looks pretty jacked up, right? Am I right? Or maybe it's too white, maybe it's too bumpy. I know you'd have to just play around with it and get it however you think it should be. That looks too bumpy, a little too bumpy to me. So let's bring the bump down a little bit on there. Maybe quite a bit. Maybe don't want it quite so bumpy. But something like that. It's not perfect. We're not living in a perfect world, right? That's for sure. And then that would be your roof, and then you might vary it, with all the other buildings around, or maybe in your world all the rows are fine, but basically it should be out of sight, out of mind. And then what we can do is, once we've created this asset, and you can go down and get the door. The main thing is to save it out. If you save it out, you can export it out. And one way you could do it is, let me see, I can't export this, right? Export. That's interesting that is dimmed out for me. Let me see. I wonder why that is dimmed out. I don't have any idea. It wasn't this morning. So maybe what I have to do is, do I have to be on the object? So export object, save. Oh, I'm sorry, save, export. So I have to be on the object. So what I would recommend doing is saving this object out as its own object, and I just put it under building asset 1. So then I can bring it back wherever I need to bring it to, and it should have all the surfaces stored on it. And so that's all I had for today. Then from here, what you could do is you could go into properties, instancer, add instancer, Python city block, activate this, and I've already done a video on how to do this, and we just want to bring that down to like 1, and we get a pretty crazy world pretty quick. And that's what blows my mind about LightWave, is that you can create these fantastical worlds these fantastic worlds. Of course, now you're looking at it from this viewpoint, they all have the same pattern on the roof. Of course, we would want to change that, but you kind of get the idea. And as you start getting down into this world, it's a trip. So that's just one asset. Of course, you could go in and have 5 or 6 of them and really mix it up in here to where you can't really tell. And if you look at a lot of cities, you know, they all look kind of the same from certain angles. I mean, they're just a bunch of different buildings everywhere. So something like that, you know, for just a quick asset building in your projects. So that's all I had for today. Take care, have a great day, and stay cool. It's really hot out there.